see about April 8 Indian Express news. First article is related to in blow to Imran, Pakistan Supreme Court restores house and orders vote. Deputy Speaker on rejection of a no confidence motion against him and ordered restoration of National Assembly, saying the Prime Minister's move to dissolve the Parliament and call early election was unconstitutional. The court also declared the advice by Khan to President Arif Alvi to dissolve the National Assembly as unconstitutional. The next article that we are moving into is related to India abstains in United Nations General Assembly vote that sacks Russia from Right Council. United Nations General Assembly Thursday suspended Russia from United Nations Human Rights Council over the report of gross and systematic violation and abuses of human rights in Ukraine, prompting Moscow to announce it was quitting the body. India abstained in the vote and that indicted Russian soldiers were killing civilians while retreating from towns near Ukrainian capital Kyiv. US-led push got 93 votes in favor, while 24 countries voted no and 58 abstained. A two-third majority of voting members in 193 countries, 193 members United Nations General Assembly in New York, abstention do not count, was needed to suspend Russia from the 47-member Geneva-based Human Rights Council. Suspension are rare. Libya was suspended in 2011 because of violence against protesters by forces loyal to then leader Muammar Gaddafi. Also, Russia is a permanent member of United Nations Security Council. No permanent member has ever had its membership revoked from any organ of the world body. Russia was in the second year of 3-year term on the Geneva-based Rights Council, which cannot make legally binding decisions. Next article that we are moving into is related to despite Russia's red flag, why India puts foot down. Let us also see what is India's stand on Russia-Ukraine crisis. India has called for peace, dialogue and diplomacy for the immediate end to violence and constructive talks for early resolution to the conflict. Since January this year, India has abstained on procedural votes and draft resolution in International Security Council, General Assembly and Human Rights Council that deplored Russian aggression against Ukraine. Next article that we are moving into is related to Russia's red flag, why India put foot down in its tightrope walk. For abstention, it does not count to calculate the tally at the United Nations General Assembly on resolution to suspend Russia from United Nations Human Rights Council is effectively seen as siding with those who voted yes, so essentially the West led by US. Russia had warned countries that a yes vote or abstention will be viewed as unfriendly gesture with the consequence for bilateral ties. Delhi's point is that it should have been brought before the Human Rights Council first and not United Nations General Assembly, sources said. This is a signal to the West that due process has not been followed, something that India interlocutor can draw Moscow's attention to. This is what all about. Next article that we are moving into is related to Somia booked for cheating in IRNS fund collection. IRNS was India's first aircraft carrier which played a key role in 1971 war with Pakistan that led to the birth of Bangladesh. It was decommissioned in 1997 and preserved as a museum till 2011 before being sold and scrapped in November 2014. Next article that we are moving into is related to forest fire frequency intensity up in 2 decades study says. Forest fire as well as number of months in which such fires occurs have increased in the past 2 decades, according to the study released on Thursday by Council on Energy, Environment and Water. Released a study named as Managing the Forest Fire in Changing Climate, found that there has been a tenfold increase in the forest fire in the past 2 decades and that more than 62% of Indian states are prone to high intensity forest fires. Council on Energy, Environment and Water study also found that Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Maharashtra are most prone to high-intensity forest fire events caused by rapid change in climate. Recent incident at Sariska Forest Reserve was the fourth forest fire in that week. India is the second most vulnerable country in the next. In some related facts, let us see in detail. India is the second most vulnerable country in the global south to forest fire. Mizoram has had the highest number of forest fire incidents in the last 2 decades. 89% of forest fire extreme hotspot districts are located in the drought hotspot regions. Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Maharashtra are most prone to high intensity forest fire events caused by rapid climate change. Recent forest fire at Rajasthan Sariska Tiger Reserve was unseasonal, with high temperature exacerbating the spread of fire. Recommendations are recognize the forest fire as a disaster type and integrate into a national, subnational, local disaster management plan. Forest fire only alert system needs to be developed that can provide real-time impact-based alerts, enhance adaptive capacity and provide clean air shelters. This is what all about this article. Next article that we are moving into is related to COVID and poverty. In the recent times, withdrawal of 2017-18 consumption expenditure survey and the uncertainty in measuring the economic fallout of the pandemic has served to further polarize the debate. In the absence of reliable and timely data in the public domain, various economics have put forth their assessment of poverty and inequality in India during these years. IMF working paper draws on 2011 and 12 consumption expenditure survey but makes adjustment using data from the national accounts, also incorporates in-hand transfer food subsidy to arrive at its estimate. For one, while growing the divergence between the consumption expenditure estimates arrived at from the national accounts and the household surveys has been documented. In the large part, such debates over the state of Indian economy can be traced to absence of timely and accurate public data. In fact, even though India has a rich statistical tradition, paucity of data has often been the ban of policy making. Its absence makes the job of the government harder and more so during the time of acute uncertainty. Next article that we are moving into is related to BRICS for a new order. BRICS is developing in a direction that was never envisaged. The group that brought together by geopolitical rather than economic consideration. This has been seen in the strategic interest shared by Russia and China. India joined Russia and China, thus changing the RC into RIC. The entry of Brazil changed RIC into BRIC, and South Africa as its member group became BRICS. BRIC countries decided to create a $100 billion BRICS Development Bank and reserve currency pool worth over another $100 billion to offer an alternative to countries in the northwestern world when it comes to choosing the sources of funding for development or coping with serious economic crisis. BRICS states are different in many respects, and their disagreements with the West are rooted with different historical and political circumstances. Brazil, which represents Latin America and has a strong left socialist tendencies, disagrees with the West on social issues. The situation in South Africa is same. Local communities belonging to the ruling coalition, the West is accused of abetting the old order. In Russia and India, people are not so much repelled by political as by the moral values of the West. Ukraine will consider consolidated BRICS as a group, will make further efforts to become real alternative to West to create a real multipolar world. The rise of RIC now within BRICS, if one disaggregates BRICS into a geopolitical component within the northern Eurasia. Dialectically, the fallout of Russia's alienation from G8 group of nations. Tactically, at least, Russia, India, China might be playing their own triangle integrationist card with BRICS at Moscow initiative. Neither India nor China nor Brazil and South Africa may be on board with isolating Moscow. In fact, both Asian giants, India and China, may stand to reap the best of both worlds as Ukraine imbroglio plays out. Russia has every incentive to accommodate both India and China in the energy sector, especially in the case of Beijing-Moscow axis that has been languishing in limbo due to the price of shipping gas to China. Additionally, the proposed arrangement of rupee-ruble cross-currency pairing could well be harbinger of more concerted efforts to settle the payments in non-dollar currencies, with more countries looking at India's foreign financial messaging system while also remaining connected with a central system like SWIFT. This should also anchor India's quest to build a dedicated payment mechanism for energy-related payments and settlements as a long-haul measure. Thus, Russia's invasion of Ukraine appears to have unwittingly put India at the sweet center of diplomatic triangle in the Indo-Pacific. The foreign minister of Greece has also been to India, as Israel Prime Minister is scheduled to visit soon. New Delhi is basking in its well-deserved spotlight with well-crafted diplomacy. India could be looking at a new dawn. After all, RIC controls 22% of global GDP and 16% of global exports of goods and services. Let's continue in the next video. Next articles in the next video. If you like the video, please do share, like, comment and subscribe. Thank you.